Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Well, not good night, but you know what I mean. Hello. I didn't want to do, hey, hi guys, the kind of YouTube typical start. So whatever salutation you appreciate, just imagine I've said that one. I'm going to do a bit of a Patreon update here. I've got a list on paper. I don't trust tablets and things because you have to sign into them all the time. They keep signing out, so I've printed it off. What I plan on doing with this one, I'll edit quite a few bits. If I've read some of this, it doesn't seem to work, I'll just snip it out. So there might be like jump cuts in it. I don't normally do jump cuts, but on something like this, I think it might work. Also, I plan to put this out as a video and as an audio version. Now, last time I did an audio version, and quite a few people liked it. A few people didn't like it. A few people said the application didn't work very well on their device. All sorts of other issues that are out of my control. But what I'll do, I'll put out a video version and audio version. You can choose which one you want to watch. With the audio version last time, I snipped out all the ums and ahs, which made it sound a little bit odd, a little bit robotic. So I'm going to keep them in. Unfortunately, that means there'll be lots of ums and ahs. It doesn't matter too much on video. You don't seem to notice it. If somebody's going, you're all right. But if it's on audio, it just sounds a little bit odd. It seemed to do to me anyway. But that's what we're going to do this time. So under this video, you'll find links to various things mentioned in the video. I wouldn't bother looking down there just yet because I'll explain what they are as I go through and then have a look afterwards. But other than the audio version, which I'll try and put near the top as a... I think there's an RSS option in Patreon. If you can figure it out, I'll put the link up there and hopefully it works. I might have to do it as a separate post even, and then it generates an RSS feed on Patreon or something. Good luck with that, that's all I'll say. Yeah, now previously on these updates, I've tried to do a couple of different things. I've tried to sort of tell a sort of warts and all kind of issue, like what's been going on, what hasn't worked, what has. I won't say complaining, but just reflecting on what issues I've had. And some people didn't like that. They thought it was a bit negative. So then I tried to do one that was all positive, cut out anything that was slightly kind of, oh, this is a bit of a problem. That one then, a lot of people didn't like because it was too kind of whitewashed. It's difficult because I understand not everything appeals to everyone, but I'll do my best to try and keep this one on the straight and narrow. I don't want to dwell in things too much because nobody wants to hear, I know this, I'm not being silly here, nobody wants to hear somebody sitting there and complaining. I mean, nobody, if you went to a pub or something, not that I've ever been to a pub, well, say ever, 20 odd years ago. But if you went there and there was a chap there all the time who just complained about stuff from the minute you got in to the minute you left, you'd think, oh, I can't be bothered going there again. So I understand it, I appreciate it. All right, video analytics. This bit's going to be dead short because I normally go through what the video analytics were for the last month or so. I say normally, I've been trying to get a plan together for this because I think the last one of these we did was about there. So I did the hologram fan, the VU meters, the Technics turntable with the rubbish speakers and the VHD in the USA thing. All sort of 200,000 and under. I mean, the VHD one's the most recent one, 168,000. It won't get much more than that now. It'll very slowly go. Compare that to the very first VHD one that I did 2 years ago. It got like 1 million or something. I really don't know what's going on. It's gone very flat. But yeah, we're not going to dwell on that. I mean, I've got 783,000 subscribers, but if a video hits 200,000, it's a bit of a miracle. So subscriber numbers, as we've mentioned before, don't really mean anything. Talking of which, I noticed here, I was going to show you this later, I'll mention what it is, but down the side it lists like other related videos up next, things that you might be interested in. And Flex Play video from Technology Connections, 1.1 million views. Now he's got a fraction of my subscribers, he got 1.1 million views on that. Good to him. The last time I had a 1 million view video was the most expensive most expensive tape player in the world, the reel-to-reel one, which was like a year and a half ago. It was December 2017 or something. And then the last 1 million one before that was another year or two before then. So yeah, I don't get 1 million views anymore. I don't know. You know, good luck to him on that one. Funny thing about that Flex Play one, I was going to do a Flex Play video. I bought the disc 2 years ago. I recorded getting them. I bought a pack of them from eBay. There was a chap all sealed, new in box. So my intention was I was going to get these out, and if you remember, if you don't know, it's the self-destructed DVDs that you get them out of the airtight container after 24 hours or 48 hours or something. they go opaque so the DVD player can't read them and then you throw them away. And I got them all out and they all had a sell-by date on them. I never really thought about this, and they'd all gone off in the packaging, so I couldn't play any of them. So at this point I thought, well, I haven't really got much of a video there. I've bought some discs that don't play. Can't really say much about that. So I had it on my hard drive for about a year and a half, all the footage I'd shot. And in the end I deleted it to free up space. And then what do you know, a guy from Iceland sends me through, offers to send me a disc that self-destructs, and he says it's a different kind of technology. And I thought, I could add that together with the FlexPlay video, put those two things together, and then I'd have something to show, because this one hopefully wouldn't self-destruct. But I'd found out I'd deleted all the FlexPlay footage, and I thought, all right, so I was wondering what I was going to do about this. And then, like, next day, Technology Connections releases his video about FlexPlay, and he gets like 1 million views on it, and I'd thrown it away. But it would have been a different video. My video wasn't going to be anything like his. He did the right thing. He went into it in a completely different angle. I like to show things working, so that's my main thing. So if I get something that doesn't work, I don't feel I can show it. But he talked about the waste that they create and numbers. He had all sorts of stats that I wouldn't have had, because, you know, from the American side of things, about DVD vending machines and things, which I don't believe we ever got over here, or if we did, I've never seen one, perhaps in the central London or something. So yeah, he got a completely different angle on it, and he deserves his views because it was a good video, but my video wouldn't have been as interesting as that. But it just shows that I can't get a break at the moment. I tried releasing videos on a Sunday a couple of weeks ago. In fact, I did it for the last two, because the first one I put out on a Sunday, I thought, well, I'll put this out on a Sunday. Normally, you see, I don't know if this is true, but if you put a video out on a Monday, you get more advertising revenue, or at least it seems like that. It's almost like the advertisers say, right, our new advertising campaign starts on a Monday. And then if you put your video out on a Monday, or the first of a month or whatever, when the new campaign starts, you get a bit more revenue than if you'd have put it out on a Friday, for example. Sunday, I think, is a pretty bad day. I don't think anyone's going to start anything on a Sunday. So it's probably like the end of whatever agreement people have come up with. But I put this video out on a Sunday because it was a boring Sunday. It was raining, nothing much was happening. And I think it's because I was away on the Monday as well. And it got quite a good number of views in the afternoon, and ended up on trending, the trending thing on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever looked at it. It's full of absolute garbage. But it ended up on there. I saw a thing about it recently. It said about 50% of it are things that they promote, and then the other 50% are things that are naturally generated through trending. So it must have been trending in tech or something, as they have different categories. So I thought, oh, that's good. I ended up on trending. That'll really help the views. And I've got to say, it seemed to do, but only very slightly. Rather than it being a sort of peak up and down and a flat line, it was a peak up and down and then nearly a flat line, like for a couple of days. And it was trending for, I think, a day and a half or 2 days. But it didn't really get much more views. Which one was it now? It was the... I think it was the Technics turntable one. So yeah, it got 208,000 views, which I suppose is high, because the other one's 187,000 before then. So yeah, I probably got another 20,000 views or something. Didn't make much money though. So yeah, I don't think trend is the way to go. But I had this idea that I thought, well, that would be a good idea. If nobody's releasing things on a Sunday and I put a video out on a Sunday, then I'll always get into this trending and it'll help me out over time. So I did it last week. It didn't do anything. I thought it might work again, the same trick, because of course when you think of all the big gadget blogs and all those kind of people, they're not really working on a Sunday. You don't get a new... If you look at Engadget, Gizmodo or Ars Technica or whatever, if you look at Sunday's headlines, very few things posted. So I think that seemed to be like a good time to put something out. People are sat around, they're bored at home, there's nothing on the internet that's new. Put a video out. It seemed like an idea. And I might keep trying to do it, because I don't know if the revenue drop from going out on a Sunday compared to a Monday is going to mean that I... lose on numbers but gain on volume. I don't know, you know what I mean. Right, so a couple of moving on to updates, addendums and extras. I don't think I'm going to have to cut anything yet, so that's good. VHD videos, I've done the 2 VHD videos now recently as a follow-up to the other one. So we've had the VHD in the UK, VHD in the USA. I'm putting out the promo videos I used. that I took snippets out of, the Japanese one and the UK one, but just for patrons. So I'm going to put them as links under this video. I've already uploaded them to YouTube. I've edited them. The 1980, early 80s UK/Japanese demo of the interactive features. That video had a few little jumps in it, but luckily the same thing was recorded on both sides. So I recorded both sides and I've jumped between them to get the cleanest parts of it. So it's almost, I think there's one little frame drop somewhere, but it's pretty much seamless. So I'll put that together. And the Japanese one I could just do as a full thing. It was working fine because it was like from the late 80s, hadn't been stored in a garage somewhere. So those will be under this video as links, just for patrons. I mentioned that I put them on the on my other channel, the one where I put everything that gets copyright matches, so it doesn't kind of reflect back on me. They've both got multiple copyright matches. You might remember when I showed the video first time with the golf game in it, that the music they used in the background, some kind of elevator jazz music, got a load of content matches, so I had to replace it with the Cuba Bion. Well, of course this has the original audio in it, so there's that, but there's a load of other matches. I mean, there's this throughout. So you'll be able to get those through the links below. Please don't share them with anyone else, just because it's a patron extra. It's like a thing for being a patron. It's not something that should go out to everyone. If anyone wants to pay $1, then they'll be able to see it as well. I'll put the links to them in the kind of welcome email that you get when you join up on Patreon. But I think it's nice to be able to give patrons something extra. And I should mention though that the Japanese one does contain a bit of nudity. Not horrendous, but it's weird. I mean, this is the kind of thing they would have showed at a trade show or something to demonstrate freeze frame and frame select and all that. They're using a video called California Girls, so you can kind of guess what's going on. I had to edit around that very carefully when I put the video out last time. Of course, I'm putting the full thing out this time, but I'm not saying like this is like hardcore pornography, but yeah, you know, it's a bit tasteless really, but there you go. So yeah, don't be surprised, don't be shocked if a boob turns up. It's just, I don't know. I'm not saying it's like a nude fest. It's like about 15 seconds, but it's just in there because the whole thing's there. So, by the way, this shirt is going to be, is it moire-ing? M-O-I-R-E? Anyway, it's going to be causing problems with the camera. I'm quite sure it is. All I'd suggest to that, watch it at a different resolution if you can, and then that might sort it out. I'm not changing my shirt. Reason being, I've got most of the ones packed for my holidays, and this is the only one I can find, but I keep looking for shirts that don't have this problem on camera. You won't believe how hard it is to find a shirt with a kind of slight pattern on that isn't crosses that's going to cause an issue. Things I have to think about when I'm buying clothes. I actually think, how's this going to work on a camera? So yeah, sorry about that. Ringtones. Now, this reminds me, off the Japanese video, you might remember there are a couple of sound effects. I don't know how good this is going to come through on the lavalier mic, but let's have a look. Where's it gone there? Right, so I made a couple of ringtones for myself.
Information.
And this is like an alert sound. That's it. You're surprised how scary that is when your phone goes like that, because it's the sound that someone would make if they'd like dropped a drink or something like that. So it kind of makes you go like that. Anyway, I'll put those out. The one with the information, I've added it on the end. I don't know why I did it.
Information.
Just things out of those two videos. So a bit of the Japanese video, a bit of the other one there. I'll put out one that just says information. That's quite a good one for text messages I've found. Not that I get so many, but it goes, when your phone says information, it's, I think, silly things. But yeah, I'll put some links to those as well. Okay, moving on to interactions now then. So I haven't had many interactions with people because I've been trying to get ahead with the videos as much as possible. Every now and then I get emails from people offering to translate things into Russian, but not in a good way, because they'll say, I want to translate your videos into Russian and upload it to this Russian video site. So, like, I get nothing for that. They just want me to say that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. Just take the video. You earn money off it on your Russian video site. No, of course not. I always reply to them saying, look, you can, if you want, you can add subtitles on the YouTube video. There's an option to do that. And of course they don't get back to me. But yeah, it's weird that people would ask if they could, can I steal your stuff, please? It's a very strange thing. I have this quite a few times. There obviously must be some demand in Russia for videos about tech, but they can't be bothered making their own. Another thing that people have asked me about a couple of times, so I thought I'll address it here. Every now and then somebody says, I'd like to see a video behind the scenes on how you make the puppet sections. I'd reply with this same reply to anyone that asks, but it's sometimes behind the scenes just ruins things. I'm sure some people out there will have experienced this. You've got your favourite film and you watched it a number of times, and then finally when DVDs came out, you got some extras on there and you watched the extras and you thought, oh, I didn't realise that he had wires on there so he couldn't have fallen off the top of the train. And then they show like Harold Lloyd hanging off his clock and he's about 4 foot up and there's some mattresses underneath and stuff, and you're like, oh, it's not very... it ruins stuff. It does for me anyway. I'll talk just personally. So seeing things like that, next time I see that film, I'll remember that scene, think, oh yeah, it wasn't really in danger at all there anyway. It's not as exciting as I thought it was. So, same with the puppets. If I show that I'm kneeling on the floor with my hand in a puppet and I'm making a silly voice while looking at a monitor that's getting a feed off the camera, while reading a line of a script 18 times to try and get the mouth to match up with the hand movements because I'm not a puppeteer, it just ruins it. So, and also then every time you see, if you were to see that bit, you wouldn't think that was a character, you just think it's me doing a silly voice, which I mean everyone knows, but there's a suspension of disbelief when you don't show the other part of it. If you show me going like that, then that suspension of disbelief has gone. But if you just show the puppet, then you can your brain will just let it go, a little bit, like you would watching Sesame Street or the Muppets or something. But if Oscar the Grouch, you just saw the guy crouching inside the bin, it just wouldn't be the same. So just trust me, you don't want to see that. It would not make it any better, it would make it a lot worse. That's all I'll say about that. So it's not going to happen. I mean, that's why you won't see many behind the scenes things about Muppets or Sesame Street and things. They know this. They're professionals. They know that kind of destroys it completely. Oh, and another thing that I get quite a few emails about, I'd say the most frequently mentioned thing, I don't know if I've covered this before, hopefully I haven't. People asking me if I'll do a video about hi-fi VHS. When are you going to do a video about hi-fi VHS? It'll always be in the comments about any video featuring a recording format. What about hi-fi VHS? That was great. You could record 8 hours on one tape or 16 hours on a tape, and it was super high quality. It was digital, blah, blah, blah. When are you going to do a video about it? And for years I've thought, I can't see an angle on it. And there's some things that just aren't interesting on camera. It's a topic you can cover in a sentence. There were video recorders that enable you just to record the audio, and you could record a long time on that's probably more than one sentence. And you could record a long time on a tape, and it was high quality. That's all you could. I mean, everyone knows what a video recorder looks like. Put a tape in, press record, VU meters on these ones perhaps, and that's it. There's nothing else to talk about on that one. I'd love it if there was, because it'd be another topic. It'd be like here's a video, this is really interesting, you won't believe that, But again, the quality, probably, what am I going to record? It'll record a CD or something, record it into that, play it back, it'll sound the same, obviously. There's no angle on it. I can't find an angle on it. You know what'll happen though? Next month, Technology Connections, and someone will come out with a video talking about hi-fi VHS, and they get like 5 million views, and I'll think, oh well, there you go. But it's all about what you can sort of get into a subject, whether it interests you. It doesn't interest me. Yes, I had hi-fi VHS recorders, and I used to record television with them. I never recorded audio with them because I wanted a portable audio format, so I'd record onto cassette, so I could go and listen to it on the train. I never recorded onto VHS tape, but if you wanted to do that, yeah, that was an option. But yeah, it's not something I find interesting. I know other people do, but I'm not other people. I'm just me. I can only talk about things that I find interesting. There's another one, actually. Moving on to obstacles and challenges. Talk about the Flex Play video before, thinking, maybe I should have made that. And I thought, well, no, my video was completely different. It was all about... The idea of my video was I was going to get the things out, show them playing, and then I was going to try various different techniques to stop the video, to stop the disc dying. I was going to put one underwater, I was going to put one in the freezer, and then see like 24 hours later if those played, and then that kind of thing. That was the idea behind my video. I was going to see how long I could defeat this system. but because it didn't play at all, the whole concept was off. But the other one, TED, Telefunken's disc. I've got a TED player down there. I've had it for 3 years now, and I haven't plugged it in. But since I got it, I got a modulator because it only has an RF output, a PAL modulator, and I thought one day I'll get it out and have a look at it. I fully expect it won't work. It looks in great condition, but old video equipment just doesn't work. I mentioned before, I think, about the VCR, the Philips VCR system. That's one of the ones that at one point I thought I should cover that. And then I put I looked on eBay and all the machines advertised were for parts or repair. And then I thought, well, all right. And the trouble is they were for parts repair from people that repaired videos. That was a scary thing. You looked at the description and they were like a video repair place. And they'd sold videos that they'd serviced and repaired. And they were selling VCR players for parts repairs. So you think, well, if they can't fix them. And this was a few different places, not just one. I mean, talk about people in Germany and stuff who would like exported repaired videos, recapped and all this business. So I thought, well, that's a bit worrying. I put a safe search in and never saw, in 5 years, I don't think I've ever seen one for sale that says working perfectly. And if it was, by the time they posted it to me, it definitely wouldn't be, because those things are just dying in the post. Just getting tipped upside down would be enough to kill them, I think. So yeah, the old video equipment just doesn't tend to work. So I expect this TED machine is not going to work. But one day I want to plug it in, just have a look at it. I thought I could do a video about it, just talk about it. I don't know if there'd be enough there. Again, I like to show things working. So if it doesn't work, I don't know if there'd be enough to talk about. But then, Data Bits, I think it is, put out a video on it. I've even got TED discs up here. I've been carefully storing these for years. That, I think, is the demo disc. And this is a video about computers or something. I'm really not sure. Germans will hate me now because they'll say, oh, I'll tell you what that's about. Hold on, sorry. Put it that way up. They'll go, yeah, that's all about such and such. But it's all about Russians, it looks like, at the back there. We've got Russian coinage. Yeah. So, those were the discs I was going to try playing on it if I ever got it out, but now I've done a video. I thought, oh, look at that, see if his works. His hardly worked. It was knackered, really, but unsurprising given it was video technology. But looking in the descriptions, Tech Mode hasn't got one of these. Is like the top one. Yeah, you beat Tech Mode to it, like it's some kind of competition. But because of that kind of pervasive attitude, I'm thinking, oh, sod it now. I'm not going to cover it. But that's happened before. I've got where is it now? I've got that camcorder that runs on cassette tapes. Another thing that people often ask me to cover. And as soon as I got one of those, I had it sat around a bit. I thought, I'll cover this one day. And the 8-Bit Guy did a video all about it. I like to cover things that people haven't seen before, and if I do it after someone else, it just feels like it's kind of waste of time. And about 50% of the comments will be, oh, you stole this idea, you stole it off this guy, as though like I'm inventing these old pieces of technology. I've seen this before, like, you stole this off Data Bits. So I had a look, and I thought, oh yeah, he has covered that before me. Yeah, great. There's only a certain number of items of technology exist that people have made in the past, and people are going to cover them, like Laserdisc or, CED, VHD, whatever. Compact cassette. I mean, it's like, I can't create these things. If I've covered them, someone else has covered them before. You can pretty much find all these. Apart from HiPack. I found HiPack and did the video about it, and nobody cared. Nobody gave a flying stuff about HiPack. I thought, this is it. I found a format that nobody else anywhere has covered. There was no English language things about HiPack anywhere. I did a Google search, jack all about HiPack. I thought, brilliant. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the HiPack guy. And nothing. Talking of which, ever since I've done that video, I've searched a couple of times a week on the Japanese auctions for any more HiPack tapes. And occasionally, a couple will be advertised with a player, but it's always the demo tape and like another one. I really wanted to buy a big box of HiPack tapes, hopefully finding one that played at the double speed, because that was a feature that the machine seemed to support, but there were no tapes for. But I can't even get that. There's no HiPack tapes offered for sale. So this is like the shortest lived format in the world. So yeah, I did really well to get all those tapes of that player and get it working. It was brand new as well and all that. Nobody cares about HiPack. But yeah, if somebody else does a hype video now, good luck. So I'm not going to go there. You stole my video. Oh yeah, I talked last time, I think, about a video about CD video. I say the word video too many times in one sentence there. You know the video where it was the gold discs that Philips changed the name of Laserdisc to briefly, and then said, "Oh, sod this, nobody's interested in these either," and dumped the whole lot on Pioneer. And I had that video, and it was blocked. It wasn't just demonetized; it was blocked due to a content match claim from The Cure. Well, not The Cure, you know, whoever their management is, a music label or whatever, because it contained this part out of a Cure concert video, which it didn't. The bit that they matched it to was the Polygram logo, just going down the screen. So I put in my I sent in the thing to say, no, this is not that. And you know, when you fill that in, it's really kind of trying to put you off. It's like you fill it in and it goes. I didn't want my screen to go into screensaver there. It's like you better be right by rejecting this, otherwise your account's at risk and all this. It really puts a fear of God into you. You know, like if you've pressed this button wrong, we're going to come round and burn your house down, that kind of thing. And anyway, I filled it in. I thought, well, here we go. Here goes nothing. And it said they had a month to reply. Meanwhile, the video was blocked. It couldn't earn anything. Previous month, it had earned about £20, which was pretty good. It's one of those perennial classics that kind of just gets about £10-15 a month, but those add up, you know, when you got loads of videos, and it helps out with the bills and things. And so it didn't earn anything that previous month. And then they had a month to reply, and they didn't reply. It took a whole month from the date, the 1st of April, I think. I put in the, I think the 1st of April, because I thought April Fools. And I put in the thing all the way through to April, so the very first, and then the 1st of May, the video just came back again, and it was unblocked. Nothing like, yeah, sorry about that, they were wrong, or no message at all, no acknowledgement, no YouTube thing. I just had a look every day of the month, and then on the 1st of May it was just back to working again. So yeah, thanks for like ripping up £20 note there. Great, but you know, that's a bit snide, wasn't it? Right, talk about off-screen tech. I'm going on holiday. And I'm going on a cruise because I can't fly. Like most humans, I would have to use an airplane. But even then I can't fly because I've got problems with my sinuses. I can't equalise pressure, and it's a shame because I love city breaks. I just can't have them. I haven't been able to have them for years. So I have to go on a cruise, which goes to the same boring places every time. But it's a holiday. The missus wants to go on a holiday, so got to compromise. So a couple of things I take along with me. I mentioned holiday tech before. One of the things I always do, take a multi-USB charger like this, it's in focus like this one from Anker, so I could charge all different devices, like a camera, phone, various other things. And these always have what we know as a figure of 8 thing on the back, which means you can just swap out the lead on them. So I'm going on a Royal Caribbean this time. Not my favourite cruise line. I prefer P&O, but it was a cheap one. So they use US plugs in there. So, God, it's hard to tell if this thing's focusing. It really is. Let's just... right, so US plug with a figure of 8 attachment on the end. And so then just swap that out on there. But I also take along a Euro plug one, because sometimes there's a Euro plug in the room, which I think they use for plugging the vacuum into and stuff, so you can sort of nick that one as well. So yeah, I'll take a US one, a Euro one, and sometimes take a UK one, but I've done that in the past and found nowhere to plug it in. So, but what have I got on here? 6 USB ports, and everything now charges with USB. I say everything, that's it. Probably not your car, but most of the things. The other thing I'm taking, the hyperdrive, which is a little adapter for my iPad, which isn't here at the moment. Just plugs into, this is an iPad Pro I've got, so this plugs into the USB-C port on the bottom, and on here I can plug in a USB, micro SD, full-size SD, another USB-C, HDMI out, and a headphone. So I got this on, I think it was Kickstarter, but it was like available to order for next month, and I got it. It's really good. The idea is, of course, I can now plug headphones into my iPad. It's the only thing that you should be able to do anyway, but you don't, but this enables you to do it without Bluetooth. HDMI out, that means I can plug that into the TV in the room. So in the evenings when I'm sort of sat there, everyone says, oh, why don't you go to shows in the evenings? Because those shows are awful. I hate those shows. I really don't like musical numbers. If there was a comedy club and there was a proper like US style comedian with with the kind of tables all around and people eat, that'd be cool. And some boats do have that. I went on some from the US, but unfortunately in Europe they don't tend to get into that. It's all like cabaret type stuff. Awful crap. So yeah, I'd prefer just to not bother and stay in the room or watch a bit of telly. But the telly's terrible because they're picking up from satellite and it's like just some free Europe nonsense like CNN and stuff that just BBC News 24 and things. So load my iPad up with a few programs. I've already got loads of stuff in the Sky Q box at home, the Sky satellite receiver box. So with the app, you can download those to your iPad. And it lets you view them for like a month or something before it deletes them. So I've got a series of something queued up in there, just in case I've got the time to watch it, might not have. And then plug this into the bottom of the iPad, put the HDMI out into the television. And if for whatever reason I couldn't plug the HDMI out into the television, I could just watch it on the iPad because it's a big iPad Pro. But that's a useful little thing. Small as well. I always like small things that do a lot of things that you can take on holiday. This is another gadget I've got, which is I saw somebody mention one of these on a show that said it was in their holiday bag, but it wasn't this one. They were in the US and they were able to get a different one. So this is kind of the only version I could find over here. I've been using this for a year or two now. When I go away to visit my parents, I put this in the room. What is it? It's a nightlight. So just a little nightlight, and the idea is that this has a motion sensor on it. So when you're in an unfamiliar hotel room and you wake up in the night and you don't know where the toilet is, and which is something, unfortunately being diabetic happens every now and then, I'll need to go to the loo in the night. You stick this in auto mode, which is a switch on the bottom here, and now it will only go off, we'll say now, it's because I'm moving it around, but if I was to place that down somewhere near to the loo, it would only go off if there was movement in the room. So you put it like in the corridor or something, just outside the bathroom door. So you get up, you go, oh, and you sort of stumble out of bed. As soon as you've stumbled out of bed and got a couple of foot, this thing notices the movement, lights up the floor area, and you can find your way to the toilet without stubbing your toe on the bottom of the bed. So that's very useful. And also, if you wanted to, you could use it just as a torch as well at the bottom, which it's got a little LED light in there, and it's USB rechargeable as well, just like everything else. So that's a nice little thing. I found it on Amazon. It's called the Avantek, AVANTEK DL-01. I don't know if they're still doing them, but there's similar type devices, just a useful little thing. Now, it's a little bit large, perhaps. It's got this hook here that I think you could hang on a door handle if you had the right kind of door handle in the room. But also, it's kind of the right size and shape for shoving in a shoe. When you stick it in your luggage. It doesn't weigh much either. So that is a useful thing. In the past, in these rooms, I've tended to leave the bathroom light on sometime and close the door because they always have a gap under them so you can see where the door is. But then often you turn the bathroom light on, it turns on the extractor fan. So that's going all night. So of course this means you don't have to do that. Useful little thing. And another thing that I bought recently is the Osmo Action from DJI. Now, again, a million videos on this one already, but I had one particular thing in mind that I was interested in. Over the years, I've put a number of cameras on the motorcycle's handlebars, and there's just enough vibration in there, just a little bit. You can't really feel it through the hand grips, but just enough to make the camera just vibrate very finely. And unfortunately, that then completely loses all video quality because you're effectively doubling up the bit rate you need. Because rather than it being able to track a frame from frame to frame and only adjust the bits that have changed, everything's changing like every fraction of a second because it's vibrating. So the quality just goes way down, and also the vibration's pretty annoying to look at, which is why I end up wearing a camera on the motorcycle helmet. Now this one had this thing called Rock Steady. Now admittedly, there's other stabilisation versions in GoPros. I haven't got one of those. I was thinking about it, but then this came out and I thought, well, I'll try this one just on the off chance. So far, I like the way it operates. It seems to do everything that I would want it to do, but I've only used it briefly. But I took it out with the GoPro mount on the handlebars in the same place. I'll leave the mount there, so I've just been trying different things in it. and I put the rock steady mode on in 4K. This is the important thing, I've skipped a bit. 4K stabilization. A couple of years ago when I was trying things out, no camera would do 4K stabilization because it requires, if it's electronic stabilization, a sensor larger than 4K to then stabilize down to 4K. But at the time, the maximum sensor size was 4K for these little cameras. So there was no stabilization in 4K, but there was stabilization in 1080p because you had a bit of leeway to go down to. Well, this stabilizes in 4K, as does the GoPro, but I haven't tried that. So I put it in rock steady and did it, and it looks perfectly steady. There's none of that vibrations coming through. There's none of that kind of jerkiness that you get with electronic stabilization. Every now and then when it corrects itself, it goes, oh, it should be over it, oh, it should be over it. No, this one's like, so unfortunately I took it out on the bike, drove a little bit, a couple of miles, and parked up, and was going to change the settings to see what it looked like without rock steady in the same position. Start the bike and it didn't start. Unfortunately, the battery was flat. It started first time in the garage, no issues there. Boom, right, great. But it was, I think that was the last of the energy, and it had killed itself. And even driving along the road wasn't enough to charge it up. So, and then I figured out. I thought, well, I'll jump start it, go down a hill, and then I found out that of course you can't jump start an automatic bike because it won't go into gear until the engine's started. So I was freewheeling down this hill for about a mile, and then it was a big thing, I had to go park it up, get a taxi home, come back in the car with a charger, charge it all up there, drove the bike home, then I had to get back to the car. It was like one of those puzzles, when you have a crocodile and a pig and a bird or something, you have to get them across a river, and you have to take that one over there, but that one has to stay there. Anyway, so I've got the footage, the early bit, only not as much as I wanted to, but just the little bit that's rock steady. So I'll show you a little bit of that now, and just to show you how steady it really is. It's a bit of a weird effect that it doesn't do any kind of vibration, so there's a kind of weird gliding to it, and I can see people who might not appreciate that, but when you look at the alternative, if you could see the alternative, it's a vibrating mess. So this is infinitely preferable to that. So at some point when I come back from my holidays, hopefully I'll resume that video review. Incidentally, when I went back in the taxi driver said, of course I'm all in my motorcycle gear, and I explained to him I wasn't some kind of leather fetishist. I was just trying to get home because my bike had broke down. And he says, and he told me he'd lost his son-in-law in a motorcycle accident 10 years ago. Teacher just going home from work and got took out by a vehicle that went through a junction. And he was like a teacher in Salford or Manchester or something, so that was grim. And he says, I haven't driven since. My wife made me promise to give up, and I lost another friend on a bike. And, every time I meet anyone and they mention anything about motorbikes, it's all about somebody dying on them. But yeah, it's a little bit scary now on motorbikes. I do get worried about it. But I said to the missus about this, I said, you know what, tell you what, it wouldn't be too bad if I got killed on a bike. And she's like, what are you talking about? I says, well, my health is deteriorating. It's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I said, if somebody just wiped me out on a bike while I was doing something that I enjoyed, maybe that would be a better way of going than just gradually fading away and getting iller and iller. I don't have a pension either. My plan was to get a big nest egg and put it to one side and just use that, but that's not working out at the moment. Microphones. Hold on. Is that in shot? Yes. I think I figured it out. I think I figured out what my problem is with mics. I've been doing it all wrong. This one I've been talking too close to. It's richer when you talk close to it, but it kind of pops, and there's a nasty quality to the sound. If I put it way away from my mouth and talk like about that distance away, doesn't look that far apart, does it, on the camera? But quite a way to me, like all the way over here. It sounds a lot better. I've got it running through my DBX compressor and all the rest of it. So I think I've figured it out, but I figured it out about 4 videos in the future from the one that you're going to watch next. So by the time we do this next time, maybe I'll tell you that I'm happy with the quality of the sound. And once I've got happy with the quality of the sound, I'll plan on doing a video about the setup I've got. But there's no point doing a video about here's the setup I've got, but it sounds terrible. So fingers crossed, I've figured the sound out. Lights as well. Don't know if you notice here, I've got another light at the top on an arm. Need to get another one of those super clamps, whatever they're called. That's a bit bright now. This one is, they're not there permanently, this one's a downlight. I've noticed when I was shooting some stuff, I've got the lights at the front, and I get shadows, of course, behind them, against the wall. And it wasn't a pleasing effect, so I got this and did a downlight on it as well as the forward light, and it looked a lot better. It's like something out of 2001. It's a bright white light, so it's like a blinding thing. But maybe I'm overdoing it on the light now. But honestly, things just look. A lot of stuff looks pretty bad with low light. I was filming this. I'll show you what it is in about 3 weeks' time. But this is a black object, and it just does not work well on camera at all, because you're just getting it kind of off black with grey and then a light reflected off it. Terrible. So when I bought things in the past, I've even bought things that are a certain colour that I know will look better on camera. Media consumption, yeah, a couple of things. I've barely watched anything this month. I decided last time I'd tell you about anything I saw that was interesting, like TV shows, films, whatever, things that I enjoyed. I've been working all the way through because I'm going on this holiday. I wanted to get ahead on the videos, which meant working 7 days a week into the evenings and stuff, so that I had stuff to come out while I was away. I'm only away for 2 weeks, but I want a video to come out both those 2 weeks and the week after, when I'll be probably a bit, I'm not going to say jet lagged because I've been on a boat, sea lagged. I don't know. But you know, when you get back, you can't get straight back into it sometimes. So I wanted to get like about 3 ahead. So I've managed to do that at great expense to my health and everything. But I've barely watched anything this month. So I was trying to think, what have I watched? I saw this Calculator Wars video. I'll put a link to this in the video description. From the 90s, I think. The Calculator Wars, a video history of Japanese electronics industry, part 3. I found that quite interesting. An old blurry VHS. It's part of a series of 4 videos. That was the one I found most interesting. I'd had a flick through the others. I'll put a link to that. It was interesting because it was talking about a kind of era in Japan where they were trying to figure out how to make digital electronic calculators. Nicking ideas, basically, but then making them better. And I just found that interesting. It's a 38-minute video. Probably shorter than this, with more interesting things in it. And another thing I've watched... have you seen Vintage Tech Hunters on History? The reason I mention this is because Bohush, the follically challenged of the two, I don't know if he's, I don't think he cares if I mention it. The bald chap, he's a patron £5 person at the end of the videos. You'll see in the scroll. So he says he's been watching my stuff for years. He's got a television show out of it. What have I got? Some YouTube channel that no one's watching. But there you go. Good old Bohush anyway. It's a fun little show. I enjoyed watching it. There's some good stuff I've seen, that he's looked through. In fact, there's one thing I saw in one of the shows the other day that they sort of passed by, and I thought, I've just got that. I didn't know it came out in America, so I'm learning a few little bits and pieces off it as well. But it's kind of light entertainment. It's good. It's like what's the one where one of the ones where they go vintage? I don't know, salvage. No, anyway, those kind of things where they go around and find old stuff. Anyway, any other business? You might have seen this just pop up then. A render of my wire recorder. I just saw this guy. He'd rendered. People do this for fun. I think it's also part of a college degree type thing or whatever. But he's done a render of the wire recorder that I featured a couple of years ago, and it's even got the serial number of mine on here, 33951, and it's a brilliant render. He's got the texture of it just right. He shows, I'm not into all this stuff, so I don't really understand any of it, but he's got the wireframe thing here. He's got it from different angles and stuff, and it looks like a photo of it. I don't know what the plan is, but he's watched the video, and unfortunately in the video I showed all the sides of this, so he was able to see all the angles of it. I don't know how he's done the bottom of it though, because he's got a bottom with some grates on it, and I don't know what's on the bottom of mine. I don't remember ever turning it over, but he's obviously decided that, unless somebody's showed some other pictures elsewhere, that's what it looks like. So, but yeah, fascinating that someone could do something like that. So I'll put a link to that in the video description. Just have a look at that. It's interesting. But yeah, that's really all. I haven't got much to mention, other than if your name is in the end credits, like Bohush's, delivery, then please double check the list that I'll put a link to again under the description, because there's a lot of names being taken off that list. And this is due to people using pseudonyms or changing the names or just deleting their Patreon accounts. I don't get the proper notifications. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing any of those things. I'm just saying that the way the Patreon works is that the notifications don't quite match up as they would do if somebody just used their own name, that there was their Patreon name that was also the name in the credits. So, for example, if instead of using Matt, I decide to call myself Mickey Mouse on Patreon, and then after a while I think, no, I'm going to call myself Matt again. I'll change my username back to Matt. But I've got Mickey Mouse in the end credits. And then Matt then unsubscribes from Patreon, just closes his account. I'm left with Mickey Mouse in there. It's like this orphan name, and that's basically what's happened. So if I'll put a link to the names that are going to be deleted again. It was a post I did a while ago. If your name is in that list, please let me know, and I won't delete it. But yeah, please have a look at that. If you're in that list, just give it a quick glance over. And I'll swap these around. My website needs updating, and I can't update it because it's stuck on an old version and the certificates are out of date, and it's being managed by Squarespace, and they're no help in upgrading it. They're new, I say new, few-year-old templates look nothing like the one I was using, so nothing, it wouldn't translate across. So yeah, I've basically orphaned the website for a while. Not that I don't think anyone really views it from here, but I think it does bring a bit of income in from advert revenue from Amazon links and things, and links to camcorders, which I do intend to start doing a few more of, because I'm pretty sure that helped out getting a few people on here. So I'll try and cover some more of those in between the other videos. But yeah, what I'm going to say is there will be a new website at some point, a simpler one that I don't really have to update. It'll say, look, YouTube videos here, recommended stuff here, and that's about it. And just keep it nice and simple. I've already set one up, but I just need the time to do it. So if you're wondering why the website's not getting updated, it's because it can't really be updated anymore. And finally, one request, one bit of help. Anyone that's in, is it Austria? I suppose the German people would know this as well. The company Stuzzy, Stuzzi. How's that pronounced? That is obviously not going to be pronounced Stuzzy, is it? I mean, that's me pronouncing it as it looks. The reason being, I've got a little tape machine that I want to show in a future video. When I say future video, we could be talking 6 to 8 months away here. But when I do make that video, how do I pronounce Stuzzy? Because if I say it wrong in the video, that's all anyone's going to talk about. It's a weird thing on YouTube that all anyone is obsessed about is pronunciations. You'll do a video, you spend a month of your life on this video, day and night, you're worn out, you feel like death, you finally put it out, you're like, oh, I'll put that one to rest. At least people will enjoy it while I'm on my deathbed. And the first comment comes in, you pronounce this word differently to how I'd pronounce it in my country. And you like think, oh, balls to this, I might as well just delete the whole account. But anyway, to attempt to mitigate that, if you know how to pronounce Stuzzy, or Stuzzy, or Stuzzy, or Stuzzy, let me know. And that's it. I think that's everything on my list here. I know that'll be a long video. I'm not going to cut that much out of it, because I think we've pretty much done what we need to do here. So yeah, loads of links below the video about different things I've mentioned. And if you find that I'm not responding to any Patreon comments, it's not because I'm being ignorant, it's probably because I don't have an internet connection. I think the next time we can safely say that I'll be back communicating again as normal. It'll be somewhere sort of mid-June or something. But there'll be intermittent communications between now and then. There'll be things scheduled and will come out as they would normally do. It kind of looks like I'm here, but I'm not. So even if I sort of drop dead tomorrow, it'll look like I'm alive for a month. So that'd be quite good. It'd be like a kind of posthumous Tupac albums. It'll look like I'm... maybe I could get a hologram as well. That'd be a good thing. I have to have someone hold it up on one of those fans, though. So you could hold that in front of your face, couldn't you, I suppose? There's an idea. Hologram people on stage. You could just put one of those in front of you and do all that. It would look perfect. Look like Bruce Lee's face in Game of Death, wouldn't it? You don't know if you know what I mean. He's sat at a mirror and... obviously he was dead, and they were trying to fill the script in, so they had a printout of his face, of a blown up photograph of his face stuck on the mirror, and the actor's like looking at this, obviously line it, and the camera's over here. But of course the body's moving ever so slightly. This head's rock steady on the screen. It's the worst effect ever. But then again, you know, I think they made some money out of it. So yeah, but I love practical effects like that that are terrible because they just amuse me. Favourite one, I mentioned it before. And nobody seems to mention this at all. The Poseidon Adventure, when it flips upside down and there's those people hanging off the tables, which are now on the ceiling, the chairs are up there as well. The chairs are stuck to the floor. I just don't get the logic in that, because these aren't like those chairs like benches that you get in a restaurant where they're screwed down. These are proper four-leg chairs that you pull under a table or pull out. And in no restaurant I've ever been in are those nailed to the floor. But for some reason, some special effect guy thought, I'll screw the chairs to the ceiling. And I think it must have been for a shot where people are sort of sliding. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, there's these people hanging off the tables, which I can understand the table being screwed to the floor with, with the central bit. But the chairs are sat around the table. It's the most bizarre scene ever. I don't know why I've got into that now. Let's leave it here. I hope you're going to have a good 4 weeks or so. Hopefully somebody's going to watch some of my videos, because it seems a shame to make them when no one's interested. But that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.